your home for high school football. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
And welcome back to the third quarter, midway through the third quarter of the Thursday night high school football show here at the Water Street Bar and Grill with the TVs all rolling. Yanks leading the Red Sox 2-0. Ravens and Steelers getting ready to start. If you're out and about and looking to beat the raindrops and come inside, no better place than this.
Plenty of seats to be had.
Plenty of good seats. You can get box seats right now, no problem. You don't have to go in Euchreeville tonight. Here's a guy who's probably going to have to throw out the shoes. Got to be drenched. Is our own Bob Batters, who this afternoon took coverage of the Red Bank Neptune game, and hopefully he's dried off a bit. Have you, Bob?
Guys, I got to say, pretty lucky because Ocean County, from hearing Sean Henry on the phone earlier with you guys, they got it pretty bad in the second half. It was just pretty much a light rain here, tapered off in the second half. So I can't complain. Pretty dry. Just have to worry about keeping the stats clear. But those are some first world problems. So I'm feeling pretty good.
And you saw Red Bank take care of Neptune and improve and remain undefeated and improve to 4-0. And tell us first of all, was it your first look at the Bucks, and what are your thoughts of them?
It was first time seeing Red Bank this season, and they look very solid. They looked the part of what their 3-0 record painted them as coming into this game. Senior running back Aleem Godsey, 184 yards rushing, a pair of touchdowns. Quarterback Jack Nowitzki, 89 yards rushing and a touchdown. Red Bank pretty much ran the ball exclusively. They only threw it a handful of times, and they didn't really need to. Their running game was working well. Over 300 yards on the ground. Their defense was, again, very good, just giving up the 7 points to a dangerous Neptune team. So Red Bank 4-0, continuing the best start they've had in over 10 years.
Bob, when you look at it prior to the season, was this a team that you would have thought not necessarily would be 4-0? I think that's probably a surprise to most, except those who maybe are in the program. But was Red Bank a team that you thought could have a successful year?
I definitely think so, because the way they ended last year, they came so close to getting a playoff spot, missed by only a few power points. And you look at what they brought back. Their senior quarterback, Jack Nowitzki, Aleem Godsey, as I mentioned, and then Syracuse recruit Sadiq Palmer at wide receiver, who is just, a human highlight reel basically waiting to happen. They brought back some good players on defense as well. So this was certainly a team that had the chance to put in a good season. They play in a very tough division in B North, but they've got out of the gates quickly. And talking to head coach Nick Giglio afterwards, he felt like this team, more mature coming in this year and, having some success last year, but kind of having that bitter taste in their mouth. They were really hungry coming out to start the season, and they've certainly proved it so far.
Yeah, I've always respected Nick Giglio from when he was at Point Beach and then finally to Red Bank. He really hasn't gotten it going at Red Bank, 5-5 last year, but it certainly is nice to see that his program has now stepped up.
Yeah, they really have turned the corner, and it's a program that's really struggled a lot in the last 10 years.
Right.
You look at 2003 when Harry Chabukjian, who's the current Shore Regional AD, was their head coach. They go 10-2. They get to the sectional final, losing to Middletown South. They went 5-5 the next year, and then a lot of 1-9, 2-8 seasons in there. Before the last few years with Giglio at the helm, and they really turned it around. So to be 4-0 at this point in the season, a huge win over Ocean last week, obviously got them a lot more recognition, and then to come out this week and take care of Neptune to go to 4-0, that's just big for this program to be at that, where they are right now at this point of the season.
Well, they've got a couple of big ones coming up, Bob. Next week they visit Raritan, and then the following week we'll host Red Bank Catholic. I mean, back-to-back really tough games against a Raritan team that has surprised some folks early, and a Red Bank Catholic team that is always very special. And that could be an interesting all Red Bank battle in a couple of weeks if the Bucks can find a way past Raritan next week.
Certainly. Next week against Raritan is going to be a huge game, and the Rockets have freehold scheduled for tomorrow. We'll see what ends up happening in that game, but That's a tough game for Raritan, but Raritan has looked very impressive so far, beating Manasquan and then really walloping Nadawan last week, 40-3. They've got a very good running back in Derek Ernst, and they've been making a lot of plays defensively, returning fumbles and interceptions for touchdowns. So that'll be a big test. And then obviously Red Bank Catholic, they're a juggernaut, number one team in the Shore, defending sectional champion. I think if Red Bank can find a way to win next week, go to 5-0, you really go into that RBC game with nothing to lose. You win that game, obviously, you shock, more than the Shore. But even if you say you lose that game, you're 5-1. Then they go Holmdel, Manchester, and then Long Branch Thanksgiving with what would be state playoff games in between there. So what they've done early in the season, they've really set themselves up for success to make a good run at a high seed in the playoffs. So next week will be paramount. Take care of business there. Things can really start to set up nicely for them down the stretch.
Bobby, what else surprised you last week? The good teams all won big. What else?
I mean, definitely the Red Bank win, as we talked about. I mean, Ocean came in averaging 40 points a game.
Right.
Tyler Thompson looked like he was going to run for about 2,500 yards, and they hold, Ocean to 6 points, Thompson about 65 yards. So that was definitely, a big win there. I think Asbury Park, Modern Day was pretty good early in the season. We didn't really know what the setups were going to be. They lost a lot, but Asbury Park, they rebounded from that week one loss to Point Beach, and they're getting better every week. I mean, that's going to be a very interesting team as the season goes on. They're very talented, obviously, and we'll see what they can do if they can make some noise and challenge Shore. Freehold Township started to get it going, got their first win. They almost had, shocked Manalapan in week 2, and they come out and their passing offense, starting to find its rhythm with Jack O'Brien at quarterback, and they beat Howell, who was undefeated at the time, 21-14. So right there, those 2 ones stand out to me. Obviously, the game you guys were at, St. John Vianney winning big, Tom's River North bouncing back. Other than that, and Jackson Liberty, getting that comeback win over Barnegat to win 2017. And right now, they're going to go into the game against Lakewood tomorrow undefeated, and with a chance, if they win there, then it's them and Point Borough, tie the top division. And B-South is always crazy, so I don't think any of us don't know what's going to happen there until it's all said and done.
We have not really spent some time on it, but I'll throw this one at you. Obviously, we previewed Brick Jackson when we had the Jackson folks on, but tomorrow night, the other real big game of this weekend clearly is Rumson at St. John Vianney. Your thoughts on that one and how the weather might play a part in that game at Vianney?
It's a huge game, no doubt. You have the number 4 and 5 teams in our top 10. Raritan, I'm sure, will have something to say about this, but you got to look right now and say this is the game that will most likely decide a division title with what you look at these teams have done last year and on paper. And again, with the weather, what makes St. John Vianney so dangerous on offense is that they can beat you in so many different ways. They have Boston College recruit Anthony Brown at quarterback. He has a ton of weapons in the passing game. You've got 2 6'6" receivers in Mark A. Ellington and Mike Scapert. You got Khalil Haskins who can do it all. You got Jeff Sheard in the slot. And then they have the running game where, Chris Chukwunukwe has, emerged as that number 1 running back. Anthony Brown can also take off and run, and that's allowed them to really play Calvin Beatty almost strictly on defense where he's a standout linebacker. The weather has that potential to take that passing element out of it for St. John Vianney. So you're now, if that happens, you're taking a huge part of their offense away. Whereas on the other hand, Rumson is really only going to throw the ball when they want to. They're just going to run it with Mike O'Connor and Matt Vecchiarelli as many times as they can. So if you go into a game where you can't throw the ball, that really doesn't alter the game plan that much for Rumson. So certainly if we're in a driving rain and a windstorm, that's going to benefit Rumson and hurt St. John Vianney.
Yeah, on paper, it's the Rumson defense against the St. John Vianney offense, not to knock the other sides for the teams, but and if the conditions are like they are, and if the game's played, let's be honest here, Vianney is the home team. They may opt to try and play it on Saturday when it might be the window for better weather might exist.
And they certainly could, and they're in a situation with the turf field where you can do that because you're not worried about waiting the extra day, and the weather may clear up a little bit, but the field is now in horrendous conditions. So that certainly could be an option for them. So, I mean, we'll see if that's what happens there. I'm sure they'd like some clear weather, certainly, to give their offense a chance, a better chance, I should say, to utilize everything in the playbook.
By the way, Bob has a complete preview of the weekend games on our website, shoresportsnetwork.com. You can read that. Guys, I also want to go on record as saying that I was the only one who picked Donovan Catholic today to beat Barnegat in our football picks and our Gold Coast Cadillac football picks. And as you know, the Griffins won that one. So I just wanted to mention that just while I had an opportunity.
Only a one-game lead, so be careful.
Just wanted to mention that. Bob, always fun talking to you. Where are you tomorrow night anyway?
Well, Bob is on his way. Wherever he's
going, he's getting a head start.
I would think he's going to go to St. John of the Vianney.
I would guess.
In Rumson, I would think.
Well, we'll find out. And again, you can check all of Bob's stuff
Since we are at
Brick and Jackson.
He obviously doesn't want to hear about your picks. You turned him off.
For those tuning in late, Donovan Catholic beat Barnegat 23-20 in double overtime on a Giancarlo Stigliano 23-yard field goal. Red Bank, as we talked to Bob, over Neptune 28-7. And, of course, Point Borough, a 26-6 winner over Manchester. And we talked with Coach Sean Henry a bit earlier. We're going to take one more break.
I just wanted to mention congratulations to Wall. Loses their starting quarterback in the first 5 minutes of the season, win a big one last week against Long Branch, 21-14 for their first win, breaking in a new quarterback.
Okay, there you go. You did that. When we come back, we talk with Monmouth University head football coach Kevin Callahan. We do that after this on the Thursday Night Football Show on the Shore Sports Network.
Water Street Bar and Grill in downtown Toms River is the ultimate sports bar. With 32 HD TVs, Water Street brings you all of the action of every football game. Located right on the water, Water Street is the perfect place to enjoy the finest views of the shore. Whether you want to grab a few drinks with friends, catch your favorite game, eat a delicious meal, or enjoy live entertainment every Friday and Saturday nights, Water Street is the place for a good time. Located across from Huddy Park on Robbins Parkway in downtown Toms River. Visit them at bakerswaterstreet.com.
Hi, it's Dave from the Causeway family of dealerships in Manahawkin. Causeway knows it takes a great game plan and teamwork to keep our customers happy. Like free oil changes and loaner cars. Giving back to the community is another game winner. For 46 years, Causeway has supported countless local charities, schools, and sports teams. This year, Causeway is a proud supporter of Shore Conference High School football. Stop by Causeway Honda and present your Shore Conference game ticket to win a 60-inch HD TV. Online at causewaycars.com. Causeway, the right way to buy your next vehicle.
The goal at Thompson Healthcare and Sports Medicine is to allow you to live without pain, and they offer a variety of methods customized to tackle your specific problems. Dr. Robert Thompson leads a team of professionals who work together to get the cause of your pain and then alleviate it. They are also certified providers in active relief techniques, or ART, a revolutionary soft tissue movement-based muscle technique that treats problems from overused muscles to back pain, shin splints, headaches, and many others. Thompson Healthcare and Sports Medicine is dedicated to making your life painless. They have offices in Lacey and Toms River and coming soon to Manahawkin. For more info, visit njcairosport.com.
For the latest high school football news, visit shoresportsnetwork.com. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310, and WOBMAM.com.
And we look forward every week to talking with Monmouth University head football coach Kevin Callahan, even if he doesn't look forward to talking to us. The Hawks home, boy, they haven't been home since Labor Day weekend, and they'll be back home on Saturday to take on the Bryant Bulldogs out of the NEC, a 1:04 kickoff at Kessler Field at Monmouth Stadium. By the way, Matt and Eddie, his partner, Eddie Acapinti, during the game on ESPN3 on Saturday. Yours truly back in the PA booth in the pit in the Greg Viscomi press box. And we're delighted to say hello to Coach Cal. Coach, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
Oh, always good to talk to you. Tough one last week, so we should at least do a couple of minutes on that one. You knew you were taking on a very formidable opponent, but you didn't pull too many punches in your post-game comments. You were disappointed. You thought your team really had to protect the ball and do all the right things to stay in it, and they kind of didn't do that.
Well, going into the game, the couple of the keys for us, we had to be consistent in our execution. We had to protect the football. And those were two of the areas where we didn't come up as well as we needed to. We had breakdowns on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, that either allowed big plays or kept us out of big plays on offense, and then we turned the ball over 5 times. And when you do that against a quality football team, they are absolutely going to take advantage of it. And, you know, there was a lot of good things that happened. There was a lot of positives. But when you have those type of breakdowns that we had, it's very difficult to win. On the defensive side, 11 plays out of the 72 that Fordham ran gained 365 yards. And it was those 11 plays that really was our undoing. And then when you throw in the 5 turnovers that we had on the other side of the ball, it makes for a long afternoon.
Coach, when you think about it, with obviously a young team and a team that's a little beat up right now injury-wise, what's the job of the coaching staff this week? Is it any different than any other week? Do you have to kind of rally and put everybody back together going into this week against Bryant?
Well, Matt, what it really comes down to is you don't lessen your expectations. You still hold the expectation of the level of performance at where it is. And you've got to get guys to play up to it. And what you really got to do is look at why are we having these inconsistencies, and there could be a number of reasons. It could be a lack of experience. It could be immaturity. It could be maybe asking players to do too many things. And, we've looked at all of those things, and I think we fine-tuned a game plan for this week that will address those issues. And I really believe that, we are making progress as a team. It's just that, though progress isn't always a direct ascent. There's some plateaus in there, there's some valleys in there, but we are making progress as a team. I like the effort that this team is giving each and every day at practice, and, I think we're going to be okay.
Coach, another pretty good all-purpose running back, Ricardo McCray. You're going to face the defense is going to face tomorrow. He had a big game against in their loss to Coastal Carolina, who they played pretty tough. They come in at 2-1, Brian, overall. But tell us a little bit about McCray.
Well, he's a terrific running back. He's very difficult to bring down. He's a guy that always gets positive yardage after first contact. And he's a guy that you've got to really swarm to the ball and get a lot of tacklers in on him. In the Coastal Carolina game, Bryant came in with the philosophy that they were going to shorten the game, that they were going to run the ball. In the first half, they ran it almost exclusively, and they ate up 21 of the 30 minutes of the first half. And had a lead. And then Coastal was able to open up some things in the second half, and I think they did a better job of executing their defense and were able to keep Bryant off the board. But Bryant's a team that wants to run the ball, and then they're going to throw play-action passes. And, that was one of the areas a week ago against Fordham where we kind of fell short. We did a pretty decent job on the running back for the most part. But they hit some play-action passes on us that, kind of exposed maybe some guys with their eyes in the wrong place or cheating toward the run.
It's been a long time between home games, Labor Day weekend. How much are your guys, and I'm sure you and your coaching staff, looking forward to stepping onto the friendly confines this Saturday as opposed to traveling?
Well, we're really looking forward to being back at home. As you said, we haven't been home since Labor Day. We've had 3 weeks on the road against some very good teams. And so the guys are really looking forward to coming back in front of the home crowd. Now, weather withstanding, I don't know what that crowd is going to be. Yeah. But still, our guys are really looking forward to being at home.
And, Coach, it's a team that you're somewhat familiar with. This will be the 7th time that you've matched up against Bryant. Go back to the days of the Northeast Conference, and then that last time that you played, which was in 2013. Didn't play last year, but as you look across the line, it's a team that fundamentally usually pretty sound, good, solid offensive line. They don't do anything necessarily fancy, but what they do try and do is just play good, efficient football.
They do, Matt. They run the ball on offense, and they're very good at the play-action passing game. They don't do a tremendous amount formationally, but they do execute what's in their package extremely well. And they're always a team that plays very, very tough defense. I think in the last 4 times that we've played them, the games have been no more than a 3-point swing either way. As you said, it's a team that we are familiar with. It's a team that we've played 6 times now. And it's the same coaching staff, same philosophy on both sides of the ball. So, I think we know what we're going to get. It's just a matter of Monmouth going out and doing what we need to do.
Monmouth University head coach Kevin Callahan as Hawks hosting Bryant on Saturday. 104 kickoff. Coach, not exactly knowing for sure what the weather conditions will be, but it would seem to be a day, or it's likely to be a day, where running the ball will be the priority. Of course, you have, Levon Chaney, who's a very good one, but you're very thin at that position. So does that kind of scare you a little bit on a day where you might want to run the ball, 30 times or whatever, that your depth is a real concern there?
Well, there's no question that is a concern. I mean, with the forecast that we're getting with the rain and the heavy winds, it would be a day ideally suited to pound the ball and run it and get positive yards. But you've got to be able to get the ball in the end zone. And I think the team that's able to do that, able to get the scores on the board, is going to have a distinct advantage. So, we've got to find a way to be as balanced as we can. And quite honestly, I'm not as worried about the rain. It can pour rain, and that doesn't really bother me. What I'm concerned about is the heavy winds. And if it gets up to the 40 and 50 mile an hour range, it's going to make throwing the ball very difficult. But where it's going to have the greatest impact, I think, is in the kicking game. In the punting game, in the kickoff game, kickoff return game, all of those things that could really dictate field position.
Well, let's hope for the best. Saturday, as Coach said, hopefully, if the weather's not too bad, fans will turn out. Little special day. Anyone wearing pink to the game gets a $5 admission to the game. Children's Hospital members, 13 and under, receive free admission, and any student wearing pink to the game will receive a rally towel. Monmouth Medical will be providing giveaways to fans attending the game. So it could be a lot of fun. Let's hope for the best. We, as always, appreciate your time on this Thursday night. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday at the home of the Hawks.
Hey, guys.
2 minutes.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. Monmouth University coach Kevin Callahan. Sounds like Saturday could not be fun.
Matt, a must-win?
Must? I don't know. Every game should be a must.
Well, you know what I mean. I mean, the schedule doesn't get much easier after this.
The schedule will get very difficult because everybody in the Big South is obviously very competitive. One of the best conferences in all of FCS football. So I think if you want to try and get a little bit of a positive swing going into that, then if you want to say Saturday's a must, then I would probably tend to
last non-conference game of the season.
That is correct. Everything from here on out, all conference games, one bye, kind of sandwich that first weekend of November. 3 games on either 4 games, and then 2 games at the back end of November. Not an easy one on the schedule.
Look forward to you in a shirt, suit and tie, and everything on Saturday,
suit
right?
And tie. Do it up.
TV time.
TV, ESPN3. Matt Harmon and Eddie Acapinti. Styling. Matt's a much better dresser.
Does Eddie need a suit? Does Eddie? I can lend him a suit if he needs one.
He could use a little help there. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks to our guests tonight, Walker Stopping and Kyle Johnson of Jackson Memorial. Shore Regional Coach Mark Costatino, a victorious and happy Point Borough Coach Sean Henry, Bobby Batters, of course, and Kevin Callahan. For more, check out shoresportsnetwork.com. Remember, tomorrow night, Jersey Mike's Game of the Week, right here. Brick hosting Jackson. For Tom Tremblay and Zach Collins, I'm Kevin Williams. And the guys, thanks for listening to the Thursday Night Football Show on the Shore Sports Network.